let's see. We need to do. Okay. It's Formula 1 time. And yeah. No rain, no fun stuff. Let's see. Oh, we need to. Oh, do we have the race? London. No, this is the qualifying. I want the race. Oh, I need to click that. Yeah, Max Verstappen won the race. Man, no rain, so Lando Norris can have his amazing race. But yeah, Max Verstappen almost led every lap. He almost could, but he didn't. Sergio Perez was P2 almost the whole race also. But it shifted to who would be P3. Was it Carlos Sainz? Was it Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris? Nobody knows, but in the end Carlos Sainz got the P3. Charles Leclerc could maybe have got the P3, but he started low down and drove long on his tires, and then in the end it didn't help him. It helped him getting at least up there. Lando Norris, I mean, he said like this is where they were. He knew already that Ferrari will be good, so it's the best he could do. Or he could have been better, but he didn't think that. Fernando Alonso, good race. The hype for Mercedes, like always, is just copium. Sadly, Oscar Piastri didn't have. He almost succeeded to be P7, but George Russell overtook him the last lap. I mean, Lewis Hamilton must be really happy with his car. He said something about he and Leclerc maybe touched or something. And after that, he had really problem with his car. But I think the problems already existed. And this is the one of the Vita Cash-Up RB Formula 1 teams. Drivers succeeded to get points because Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon in the first lap crashed out. So that was not fun. Valtteri Bottas looked like he could maybe get points, and then he drove too much behind Kevin Magnussen, and that ruined his race more or less. Lance Stroll should have got the last points if he started maybe higher up, but they didn't. And well, I would say good that George Russell and Hamilton didn't crash out, because then Haas will got 1 more points, and that I don't want. Yeah, and it was a lot of because people started on different tires. It was some I mean, like, will Yuki Tsunoda get the last points, or where will George Russell and Lewis Hamilton end up, or who will be in the P3? That was almost what you thought under the whole race. As I mean, the top didn't change much. And Alpine didn't do a lot either. They were really lost. So yeah, so let's see what see, we need to open this. So we can and I will be Autosport F1 2024 Japanese Grand Prix review. Normal service resumed. So yeah, time to get some more iron to buckets in the most slowest way ever, almost. The slowest way will be trying to, what I started with, trying to get and buy from a wandering trader. But just luring up a zombie. Oh, I missed this now. To make the villager scared, and then... Man, do I have to... Oh, maybe I have. Okay, I got the wrong after me. And it's ruined the ground. Okay. No! Cow, what the fuck are you doing in there? Okay, come now, zombie. But yeah, while I'm trying to get more iron in somewhat slow way, we will see what the Autosport have to say about the race.
After the blip in Australia, normal service has been resumed as Max Verstappen took the race victory, his 57th in his career. Red Bull take their 4th 1-2 at Suzuka, but beyond the Red Bull 1-2, it was tyre strategy and tyre offset, the main story of the day.
Nice picture. Did something happen to Mercedes?
As well, of course, as Yuki Tsunoda taking his first points at his home Grand Prix. Before we get into all of that, though, let's take a quick
And one day will maybe be the first podium.
Look at the results following the 53-lap race. And it was, as we say, Max, a fantastic performance, finishing way ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez for a Red Bull 1-2. Then the two Ferraris coming home, but which order? Once again, Carlos Sainz beating his teammate, who did gain 4 places up from his qualifying position. Then it was the McLaren of Lando Norris, the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso, a fantastic drive from him, keeping George Russell and Oscar Piastri right behind him. Lewis Hamilton coming home 9th from Mercedes, and as I say, Yuki Tsunoda scoring that valuable points and earning it in front of his home fans in 10th. Nico Hülkenberg coming home 11th for Haas, then the Aston of Lance Stroll in 12th, Magnussen 13th for the other Haas, the Sauber of Bottas, the 2 Alpines of Ocon and Gasly, with Logan Sargent coming in last in 17th. And last because...
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that, but Logan Sargent, he did a mistake. And then he like he drew out, get into the, I don't know, this some place where you thought, oh, he will be stuck there, and then he just backed out from it. So he maybe will keep the Red Bull seat. No, Red Bull, the Williams seat. What a nice bed you lay on. Not at all hard. No! Don't. Fuck me. I'm so. God damn it. That's also. This place on the other side is where some cows are dropping down dead. They really don't like full damage.
There's no Zhou Guan Yu, no Daniel Ricciardo, and no Alex Albon making the end.
But don't
they
push
were all
them.
DNFs. Well, I'm Bryn Lucas, and joining me to talk through all the Japanese Grand Prix happenings, we have Philip Clearan, and there at the track itself, Alex Kalinauckas. Gents, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hello, yes. It's dark at Suzuka. He's being packed up over and in front of my shoulders. And yeah.
Now, first question for you, Alex, really, other than that, is what's the Blossom like? JBL was very jealous he wasn't going to get to see the Blossom.
Very picturesque. I haven't seen a great deal of it around sort of in the paddock. It's very concretey.
Oh my god.
That way.
You need to be high.
On the edge of the track.
Ja, det kunde sånt smart.
Did manage to find quite a few camera shots to get it in, and yeah, it's
Oh, that I would say, like, I don't know how easy it is, but I would wanna have the Blossom and the cars in, like you can see them somewhat good. Seeing one super bad and one slightly good, it's nothing I would like to see.
Well, let's kick it off with what we saw out on track, and I think really what we should do, Phil, is we were talking on the preview about how Mercedes was saying that they seem to be operating better at colder temperatures, and then we were saying, oh, how's Japan going to work, it being earlier in the year? So what are your thoughts then, tyre strategy, the different time of the year that the Japanese Grand Prix was held?
Yeah, it looked like...
No!
Styrelsearbetet blir enklare med Riksbyggen som förvaltare för er bostadsrättsförening. Och ni får tid över till sånt ni tycker är viktigt.
Prova en klassiker som är stor, på riktigt. Med dubbelt upp av saftigt svenskt nötkött. Och kanske bacon. Eller växtbaserad plantbeef. Välkommen till Max.
Yeah,
Mercedes were going to be
Max.
helped by the colder conditions, which I think you saw in qualifying.
Oh yeah. That is one problem that Mercedes have. It was not equally cool as it was in I don't know, the practice. I don't know if qualifying was somewhat cold or something. But man, that car don't like some warm weather.
But then on race A, it was a lot warmer than on Saturday.
Nope.
I think the track temperature was about 14 degrees up.
Oh
And certainly during the first stint, it looked like Mercedes were struggling with that.
The sun comes
If there's a
out.
connection, we don't know exactly, but that's what it looked like. And then I think a lot of drivers commented that it started getting really cloudy during the second half of the race, and then that helped track graduation a lot. So possibly that's why Mercedes were a little bit better by then, but then the damage was already done.
No, is it already copium about Mercedes? Fuck me.
That helped track graduation a lot. So possibly that's why Mercedes were a little bit better by then, but then...
Yeah, better from what? Being super bad, yeah. Hype. Something you should really celebrate. I mean, at least Lewis Hamilton got 2 points instead of 1 point. Yeah, the progress is unreal.
Then the damage was already done, because in particular Lewis had a really poor first stint, had some issues, and that cost him and George Russell a lot of time before.
First stint, I mean, it's the third season, so is it really the
Before they made the swap. So they were on the back foot pretty much straight away, especially compared to Ferrari and McLaren, who started up front and stayed there easily.
Alex, over there, you get to see the drivers, not just you hear from them, you get to see their body language and things. And Mercedes had this strategy after the red flag that they were going to do this hard tyre, change their concept to a one-stop. Do you think that was all down to the temperature and they were caught out by that as well and hoping that they could just get the car through it being warmer than they were expecting?
I think when it came to the red flag and putting on hard tyres, it was more just about building in strategic flexibility. Like there was a bit of chat coming into this weekend that the one-stopper might be possible. Leclerc proved...
I mean, come on. Mercedes is washed. Stop. I mean, have some photos on tractor maybe. That are faster.
It was, and I think Mercedes...
Or maybe that's where you have for Alpine.
That's what they wanted to do, but quite quickly found that the pace wasn't going their way and they had to readapt. So yeah, sort of a case of what might have been for that team.
Just mentioned the one-stop strategy of Leclerc. Now, Max Verstappen was saying prior to this, he was a bit concerned about the pace that Ferrari was showing and Leclerc's ability to do a one-stopper. Do you think that had Ferrari been able to have maybe qualified slightly better than they had, particularly Leclerc, that they could have put on a real challenge for the race win?
I think race win definitely out of the question, but I think it probably would have been a little bit closer. There was a lot of chat about
that. I would say I hope Leclerc will soon stop. Do his bad qualifying that he need to use 2 red tires in the beginning. So annoying. I want him to at least fight for P2.
The strong Ferrari race runs, even back from FP1, Helmut Marko called Leclerc's opening long run rather irritating. But
what? That's mean.
Fairly mild from him, but there we go. I think actually more than that, it's just come down to the fact that basically Red Bull sandbags in practice. Ferrari, to a certain extent, does that.
Sandbagging. They just doing normal stuff. Alpine is the one that are really sandbagging. They're sandbagging even in the race. They really don't want to show how good the car is.
A little bit less, and I think that Carlos Sainz was pretty open and honest after qualifying, saying, "Yep, we were just that a little bit lighter." So even if they'd started third and fourth on the grid behind the 2 Red Bull drivers, I don't see them mounting a challenge here at this sort of more rear limited circuit. I think it's Ferrari needs very specific conditions to be able to topple Red Bull, where the front limited tracks where graining is a big issue. China next weekend, or whenever it is, 2 weeks time, that could be a big opportunity for Ferrari. But no, I don't see that this was an opportunity lost for Ferrari.
And obviously the track position also dictates the strategy, doesn't it? So, had Leclerc qualified up front, would you have gone for a 2-stop? Probably not, because it turned out not to be the fastest strategy. It was just a way for him to get back into the race, and who knows, if a safety car or red flag happens, he can benefit from that. But I don't think there's a lot to be said. I think still 2-stop was across the board quicker. So we'll never really know. But as Alex said, this kind of circuit was always going to be a little bit trickier for Ferrari compared to Red Bull. But perhaps China and Miami will be a little bit easier for them. The
tyre offset was a big talking point, I suppose. It seems that Red Bull and Ferrari pretty much got it right. The other two, there are more than other 2 teams.
Did McLaren also do somewhat good in time management?
In the championship, but the other 2, McLaren and Mercedes, they didn't get it right. But is that a hindsight thing, Phil? Do you think that they could look back and say...
I mean, McLaren must have got it better than Mercedes, at least. Right?
Well, based on what we knew at the time, it was the right decision. Or do you think they'll look back and say, we did get it wrong?
I don't think so, because... to me,
Mercedes can't get it right, so in one way it was the right decision.
Ferrari and McLaren really just finished where they should have finished, where they deserve to finish. Mercedes as well. I think it's very clear now that we've got a clear hierarchy: Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes. In that.
Stop this copy. Mercedes isn't part of the A team. They are maybe the C team.
Order. And depending on the track, depending on the conditions, maybe one team will be slightly closer or slightly ahead. But to me, the result was nothing unexpected, really. We saw that McLaren are, good in qualifying. Lando did a really good lap, I thought. Obviously, Charles didn't, so that helped them a bit. But there was really no question of Lando hanging on to that podium. I don't think that he was easily passed by Perez and Sainz. So I think they just all pretty much finished where they needed to finish.
Earlier in the week, though, Alex, during FP1, I think in FP2, Lewis was saying that he was enjoying it the most that he has. I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah, and that, I mean, his reaction after the race was no need for the lies. He will soon leave Mercedes. No need to talk good about it.
Enjoying it the most he had so far this season. It was the best performance he had, and it didn't.
The best performance and then 2 points.
It didn't seem to materialise, particularly when you see that he finished all the way down in ninth.
Yeah, I think Lewis's comments more reflected the fact that the team worked hard to make sure they could maintain that through corner balance and the tyre temperatures on both axles. So if they can achieve that, the car is naturally going to feel a lot better for a driver. But it's, as Phil said, Mercedes finished and really qualified where it should do in terms of the sort of the pace and the performance of the car that we've seen so far this year.
True.
I think the critical thing that actually, by a very small margin, Mercedes weekend could have potentially, at least the race could have started off a lot differently. They were on the wrong side of a 1/10 split across 4 teams. So that's McLaren, Ferrari, Aston Martin and Mercedes, and potentially if Hamilton had started a lot higher up, maybe things do go on to be a little bit differently. But yeah, I think also there's various things. The wind had turned around quite a bit this year, so nice sort of headwind through the S's section, so the car is naturally going to feel a little bit better for the drivers. And honestly, Lewis was like, the car felt great, but it's half a second down to the Red Bull or whatever it was, or the time in qualifying. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, that's what it is. Unfortunately, things might feel nice, but that's the reflection of where Mercedes is in this battle this year.
Second fame. No! Fucking time.
Jalla Casino, snabb och enkel registrering.
Phil, you mentioned this kind of pecking order. Red Bull, then it's the Ferrari, then Mercedes and McLaren.
My God, no. I feel like it's first Red Bull, then Ferrari, then we have McLaren and Aston Martin, then maybe Mercedes. Stop grouping the good teams with the bad team.
Aaron, but what about Aston Martin, and what about particularly Fernando Alonso?
It's like say Alpine is equally good as Williams and Visa catch up RB Formula 1 team. They are not even close. Oh.
So another fantastic drive from him.
Yeah, excellent across the board, I thought. Starting on softs didn't really work out the way they maybe wanted to, but he just had a really good performance all the way through the race, both defensively, keeping their tyres under control, keeping Piastri behind and such, and Russell at the end. Just a really good drive, which Fernando agrees with, because at the end he said, this is one of my best ever races, or best.
Yeah, good drive from Alonso, and a question mark about Lance Stroll. Was it good or... Man, when will he leave the team?
Top 5 ever, which is something he does seem to say every other week. But to his credit, it was a good race. Yeah, I think most people would still argue Aston is the 5th team in the pecking order, even if it's by a very small margin. So if you are able to qualify out of position a bit, in Alonso's case, and try and stay there with strategy, with DRS games, I think he was trying to keep Piastri in his RS range, a bit the way Sainz did in Singapore last year. So.
Oh yeah. I was thinking, because Lewis Hamilton started catching up with George Russell and Oscar Piastri and Fernando Alonso. That I was wondering, did Fernando Alonso maybe slow down so Oscar Piastri got DRS, so he could maybe keep George Russell behind? I'm not see. Oh yeah, the kid got the right clothes. Hi. So I'm not seen yet. Yeah, die. No, fuck. He escaped. But yeah, I've not seen anyone mention if that actually was true, but hopefully I will get to know it.
You know, all the tricks of the trade. You know, no brake testing or anything like that. Just good old defensive masterclass, and just a very good ride.
Yeah, it's exactly what he needed after the sort of cloud that had been hanging over him, since Melbourne. Let's rewind just a few days. Like, some people are openly criticising.
Man, he maybe could have done so that Oscar Piastri did a bad, doing like he did to George Russell, but this time Oscar Piastri doesn't fall for it, but George Russell do. And then he crashed out the last lap again.
And questioning his tactics against George Russell in the Melbourne race. So I think it's the perfect riposte. It's a very Fernando Alonso riposte, as Phil says, declaring this the best of the best of the best that is of that that amazing selection that he's got of his best races. But yeah, again, let's look at the venue. It's a proper old school, brutal track where the best drivers really can make the difference. And look at the absolute chasm between him and his teammates. Like, Fernando's showing what.
Yeah, his teammate. He's showing Aston Martin how not to score points.
The Aston can do, and Lance Stroll letting teams that really should have no chance of scoring points, in this case RB and Yuki Tsunoda, we'll get to later. Lance gave away his point again by poor qualifying and not being able to make up for it in the race.
True.
Looking a little bit further back, and his teammate Lance Stroll, well, he did all he could, didn't he? He tried to get up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda, ended up falling behind Nico Hülkenberg. But for Yuki Tsunoda, what a great result. He gets that valuable point, but he does it in front of his home fans. What was the response like?
Yeah, fantastic weekend for Tsunoda. He's continued his run.
And a really bad race for Ricciardo. No double points for Visa Kesha
starts the year when it comes to qualifying, and yeah, he was actually quite unlucky at the start. I thought both RB drivers getting swamped because they took that initial start on the medium tyres, and as Pirelli had been insisting, some teams are going to put the softs on at the start to try and get the jump on others, and it worked very well for them, and in fact doubly so in the case of Ricciardo, because it just put him back into a position where obviously he probably wasn't expecting to be, and he got a little bit caught out. So yeah, another disaster, not what he needed in terms of the sort of reputation damaging start to the season that he's had, but the exact opposite for Tsunoda. Just on the radio complimenting the team after slick pit stops, passes at the S's, delighting his home crowd, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. And I just thought, just on the home crowd front, obviously this is the first time the Japanese Grand Prix, I know it's not the first time that a Grand Prix in Japan has been held in the spring, but the first time this race has been held in the spring. Everybody seems pretty happy with it. I think FOM, suggesting that it makes things a lot easier for their freight requirements and getting things worked around with trying to make this calendar at least a little bit more sustainable. So that's a good tick. I think my understanding is that perhaps slightly down on ticket sales, not by a lot, but just reflecting the fact that the last race was only 6 months ago. So I think with that in mind, everybody's very pleased with how the change to bring the Japanese Grand Prix to the spring has gone, and I expect it to be back in similar sort of slot next year, maybe a little bit earlier, obviously, because we know the Middle Eastern races are going back because of Ramadan in 2025.
Yeah, I agree with Alex. Just a really good race. We've jokingly said before that in the midfield, whoever wants to score points has to be the guy that beats Stroll, and
I mean, that's gonna be a nice statement. That is what people say. Not that you need to beat this team or that team. That is, you need to beat Lance Stroll and then you get points. His father must be really proud of that.
Today we had two people doing that, with Tsunoda and Hülkenberg, and if you look at the gap, there are only like 4 or 5 seconds in between them. So it's a very tight battle there, obviously, and it will be probably for the entire season, really, depending on who develops best. But it's so important that once you have the opportunity here, you just need to bang the points whenever you can, because they're going to be hard to come by for all of these people. So yeah, perfect performance. Hasn't really been mentioned too much in terms of being a candidate for Red Bull, but it's done a perfect job under a lot of pressure in front of his home fans, but it just seemed to glide off him, really. He didn't seem to be fazed by that. Obviously, it's very easy to be well behaved on the radio if everything goes well, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, the start in Bahrain, that was a weird moment. I mean, like, it was even not for points. But yeah, why?
If we get some more adversity, how he's really improved on that front. But so far, he's had a super solid start to the season.
So a great result for Yuki Tsunoda, but not a great result for his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, who once again struggled. He went off in turn 2, didn't he, with that collision? So first of all, what...
Struggle. If we start on P11, had the same problem with the tires. Could maybe have got points or close to points if he didn't crash out with Alex Albon. $10 buckets. The one time succeed and somebody's ruin it. So me.
What are your thoughts on the incident and the wider issue of what's going on with Daniel Ricciardo, Alex?
Yeah, I think just on the crash itself, hard to really see what else Albon could have done. He recognises Ricciardo's coming across, he slams on the brakes, and it just unfortunately isn't enough. I think Ricciardo will point to the mitigating circumstances that he was aware Stroll was slightly on his inside, but equally if he'd been a bit more decisive and cutting in ahead of the Aston Martin rather than drifting to the right, the crash may not have occurred. So yeah, the stewards just saying if it hadn't been lap 1, maybe some sort of penalty would have applied, although didn't get into details of which way that would have gone. But yeah, as we said earlier, considering everybody came into 2024 expecting Ricciardo to blow Tsunoda away, Perez to continue being, under.
Yeah, actually true. Even I had Nick de Vries will most likely be better than Tsunoda. Oh no, that was not true. They were further from the drifts.
Against Verstappen, and that it was it was a Red Bull promotion to lose for Ricciardo. It's very hard to see it happening now, considering everything that's going on with the turmoil of the driver market. Ricciardo just isn't showing what certain factions within the Red Bull camp want.
Well, from one driver who's struggling to a team that seems to be struggling, and that is struggling with the number of chassis they have. And another issue for them this weekend with Alex Albon going off, and that is Williams. They got China.
Oh, hope the car didn't get too much damage, because that would be not fun for Williams.
A week's time. Just how damaging is this for them? Because they spent more time repairing the car than they have racing it.
Yeah, this is a really big blow again for Williams, because it's another chassis that has to be repaired in the factory in Grove, be pressed into action again in China. They're already on the back foot with producing chassis in time for Miami now. It's another delay, and it's not just about the chassis, it's also about all the other spare parts that have been damaged over the last couple of weeks. They also need man hours, they need time, resources to produce them. And with the budget cap and where Williams is at,
shit, will Alex Albon get, like Logan Sargent, it was talk about he got the old what's it called? God damn it, the old wings and stuff. I guess after this crash, similar stuff will happen to Alex Albon.
We're going to have too many spare parts. They're going to be very limited as well. So at some point, it is going to be an issue for them if they keep damaging stuff, because they clearly cut some corners, took a gamble on.
And they are still better off than Alpine. Isn't that sad?
Minimizing how much they produce so they can upgrade later, and clearly with all the repairing that has been done, this will inevitably down the road delay some of their upgrades coming forward as well. So that it's not just short-term pain now, it might also be a long-term handicap for them this season.
Well, Alpine, they've been struggling, haven't they, recently, but Pierre Gasly seemed to be quite happy with the upgrades they've made. What are your thoughts on their race?
Yeah, I think they were fairly open coming into the weekend that the update wasn't going to massively change their place in the pecking order, and it bore out in the race. Ocon again does very well to get out of Q1, but when you've got two cars that qualify ahead crashing out, and then you finish further back from where you started, it's really not. It's really not gone well. It's reflective of the tricky position Alpine is in. But critically, I understand that the front wing upgrade brought a nice bit of weight saving to the car, so things are going in the right direction on that. That's a big.
Yeah, it's going the right. Hello. Oh my god. Fuck me. It's going the right way. Like Mercedes after 3 years. They're still going on the right way.
In why Alpine have been so far off the pace. So more of that, I think, from the team, and hopefully, bigger upgrades will potentially propel them up the pecking order later in the year.
Keep looking at teams with woes, don't we? And Sauber, Valtteri Bottas had a pretty decent showing actually, but Sauber seems to be really, really struggling with their pit.
I mean, now they didn't struggle because they was more carefully. So they were just slow now.
It stops. When will this problem be resolved?
It's definitely not fixed yet. I think you saw that in the race with the stops taking around about 4 seconds. They was giving themselves much more margin, but I think hopefully they're looking more towards China for a permanent or a long-term holding fix to be the situation there. But yeah, other than that, it was.
I mean, or you could say they're really going for their sponsor. They're gambling the pit stop with stake, and they are losing a lot.
It's a pretty underwhelming weekend for Sauber. Joe Guan Yu qualifying down the back of the grid. Not a lot else to really say about the team overall. So yeah, again, the focus is on pit stops and poor reliability as well because Joe retired with another gearbox problem.
I think we should really finish on a high though, don't you? And that is
But Carlos Sainz future. Probably Mercedes.
Carlos Sainz. Great results for Red Bull, obviously.
Probably Mercedes if you want a short-term good car. If you want a long-term good car, he will go to
1-2.
Audi.
Couldn't just gloss over it entirely, but Carlos Sainz, I mean, he's outperforming his teammate, has done it again, looks very, very strong, and he hasn't got a contract for 2025. When will this be resolved?
No.
Det är kul, det kokar, för varje match som går så kokar det ner till det avgörande momentet.
Lies. Nobody cares.
You finally get the sense that he's sort of, the first time this weekend there's been a little bit of needle of come on Ferrari, why have you dropped me? Like, what more could I...
Why you dropped me? Yeah. Or is Lewis Hamilton so fucking watched that Carlos Sainz is better? I mean, I would say yes. Not because I think that, because it's more fun to say.
Be doing. Helmut Marko greeting him very effusively in the paddock. I think there's meetings between the Red Bull camp and the Sciences camp this weekend. So he's in with a shot, but it's too much of an unknown with what's going on at the top of Red Bull right now to be able to make sort of safe predictions on that front.
Yeah, because Max Verstappen has still not left the team. That's weird. Wasn't he go to Mercedes after Australia? Man.
Mercedes could potentially be another option for him if that team is waiting to see what's going to happen.
If he wants a slightly good team, if he wants just to be in a fun team, he goes to Williams.
with Kimi Antonelli in F2, and then where else does that leave him? Aston Martin, maybe they're leaning more now towards hoping to re-sign Fernando Alonso, although that being the most likely scenario. So again, it's back to what Sauber and Audi. But is that really where a driver of Sainz's caliber should be ending up? Based on how Sauber are at the moment, that would be a big step down for him.
Yeah, as Alex said, it really depends on not only who is going to be picked, but who's going to do the picking, who is going to make the decisions there. Is it all going to be Christian Horner from now on? Is that going to be challenged? Is that going to be changed come summertime? They said by the summer they want to make a decision. They're happy to wait until then. So we don't know what the situation will be by then. But in the meantime, Perez is doing what he needs to do, really.
True.
But he does need to keep confirming this, because we've seen in the past.
And also, why do you even need to mention Perez? There's so much talk about Max Verstappen going to Mercedes. He will leave the Doomsday team Red Bull. Because reasons. Because Mercedes might be good 2026. That's because Lewis Hamilton left that team. True.
We've had a false dawn with him 2 years ago when he was challenging Max for race wins, and then it just sort of fell off the cliff. So they really want to see him confirm that now until the summer, rather than dropping off again.
Thanks very much, gents. Before we disappear for this one, let's have a look at the championship standings. And we can see it's Max Verstappen leads the way, 77 points over his teammate now. Yes, Sergio.
Man. God damn it. If Sergio Perez would have won the race, he could have led the championship. And last year he could maybe have done that. If he got the fastest lap. That's sad. Lewis Hamilton 1 points more than Lance Stroll. This is really good.
Sergio Perez jumps above Charles Leclerc on 64 points. Then it's the two Ferraris, as I say, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz Jr. on 55. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, so the McLaren's very much making that third place in the constructors theirs, aren't they, at this stage? George Russell, then Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton way down in 9th after 4 races, and then Lance Stroll creeping his way still into 10th position. Yuki Tsunoda climbs up to 11th. Oliver Behrman is still there in 12th. Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Albon, Guan Yu, Ricciardo, Ocon, Gasly, Bottas and Logan Sargent there, with quite a few of them still yet to score. When we have a look at the constructors, and as you see, Red Bull are well and truly ahead. 141 points now, 21 ahead of Ferrari.
No, Mercedes have more points than Aston Martin now. Lance Stroll has ruined this.
McLaren in 3rd, Mercedes in 4th.
I mean, this is one thing that you can also say. Just make Lance Stroll leave. They're losing so much points.
34, just ahead of Aston Martin. That's going to have a battle right the way to the end, you suspect, don't you? RB in 6th, Haas in 7th on 4 points. Then Williams, Sauber and Alpine still yet to score as well. Well, as always, thanks very much to Alex and to Phil for joining us. Thanks to you for watching. And don't forget the Chinese Grand Prix is coming up, the first time returning to China since 2019. And if you've liked what you've seen on this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can keep up to date with everything Formula One. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, that was some copy about Mercedes. Yeah, but nobody cares about them. Oh, let's see, the funniest tweets from 2024 Japan. I mean, funniest tweets. Rarely there's any funny tweets here. I mean, there should be something about Alpine being slow. Maybe something about Logan Sargent succeeding to make a yellow flag and then backing up so he can continue. Maybe something about Ricciardo and Alex Albon in the first lap crashing out. What more can you meme about? Or tweet about? I don't know. Max wins again. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell or Mercedes being bad again. Hey, let's see.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the funniest tweets. Today we are talking about the Japanese Grand Prix. Oh yes, a race that, although we had...
Maybe something about Charles Leclerc not having a good qualifying also.
Precisely 0 wheel-to-wheel action for the win. We did...
I mean, you can say some people led the race that made maybe something happen.
Have an actually quite exciting race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The midfield popped off. We had some great battling, varying strategies, but most important...
Oh, should be a meme. When the 4 drivers pitted at the same time. They would drive me behind Kevin Magnusson, and when he goes in the pit, everyone else go in the pit, and then Tsunoda succeeded with getting past them.
Importantly, we had some amazing memes from you, so let's dive into them. Not again, Williams. Now, I first and foremost have to apologise for how I sound. I have been rather unwell these last few days, and some words aren't coming out properly because my entire nasal passage is in big trouble. But let's dive into Williams, shall we? And start with F1_LN4 Life. Public enemy number 1, Williams chassis. Now, of course, this...
Yeah, that's... Stop crashing, Williams.
On lap 1, Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon. Alex being very aggressive with the soft tyres, wanting to make up some places. Completely understand it. Daniel Ricciardo having one of the worst starts we've seen on the medium tyre. I think he started 11th, didn't he? Just missed out on Q3. And fell like a stone, fighting for around P15, P16 into turns 1 and 2. Alex popping a little nose round the outside, seeing what's what. Daniel doesn't see him, turns right slightly to open up the corner for the next left-hander. And into the wall.
Yep.
The Williams into the wall again. At G-Souls Racing. Why do Williams keep crashing? That meme. Now, of course, it hasn't happened that much. I can't imagine that man is that stacked off the amount of Williams crashes. However, we've got some problems. Williams.
Oh shit! Funniest tweets. I wouldn't say that funny, more depressing. Okay, sure, funny, no. Oh, goddammit, where were I?
Into the wall again. At G-Souls Racing. Why do Williams keep crashing? That meme. Now, of course, it hasn't happened that much. I can't imagine that man is that stacked off the amount of Williams crashes. However, we've got some problems. At Williams, they are, despite having James Vowles, the absolute legend, the wordsmith, the Shakespeare that is James Vowles, it's not hunky dory in Williams at the moment. Of course, the whole spare chassis problem is a big problem, and I don't know exactly right now the extent.
I mean, they're just following Alpine steps. So
of the damage of Alex Albon's chassis now.
You have to do it.
But Logan Sargent just about managed to survive the race without damaging his repaired chassis, which I guess is a small slither of positivity, but not a lot. At Jesus MVR01, Williams at the Chinese Grand Prix. Oh, it's difficult, isn't it?
Okay, here we actually have a funny. But man, you should have maybe foot of a Formula 1 car that are damaged.
Because there are a lot of memes that you have made, so clearly it's going to be a segment in this series. However, I do feel very sorry for Williams, who have got some sort of pace. Like Logan, at one point, I think was running in 11th. And he was very excited, I believe, probably. I don't know, haven't spoken to him. But he was running quite well. Williams looking like they had some decent pace. Sort of 15 laps into that hard tyre stint. I know he was a little bit out of sync with other drivers that pit from the mediums or the softs, but still looking reasonable. And then he remembered that I predicted him biggest flop for this weekend and then ended up in the gravel. Thank you, Logan, for the point.
I mean, he did, but then he backed out and was no more in the gravel trap. No, don't push the cat. Is that why the cat is falling down? You meanie. 2021, I learned. Cats don't take full damage if they are sitting down at least. Don't know if they are standing up, what's happened then, but if they sit down, they are like boats. So don't take damage.
At Joko 6P, this?
Med fågelns färska hönekaka är sommaren bara en tugga bort.
Go away!
Hörna.
Oh my god, actually, Brad, if you're American, this will be something future stuff. Because have no sugar.
Livet en smula godare.
No cake.
Här sitter jag och är 100% förnybar kraft från Skellefteå-kraft. Driver omställningen av transportsektorn och sen börjar jag om igen.
Men vad laddar man bilen då?
Olika ställen.
Not one of the funniest.
Skellefteå-kraft.
This GIF gets me.
Okay, let's see. Drive it to serve producer singing, record an album crashing. I don't know. Funniest tweets? No. What's...
Every time, so I have to include it. Drive to Survive producers after seeing Ricciardo and Albon crashing. Jackpot. Now, of course, Daniel Ricciardo on the flip side of this, I would apportion more blame to him because...
I mean, more jackpot, Ricciardo having one more bad race. But...
He literally caused the accident by not seeing Albon. There is an element, of course, of racing there as well. Racing incident, because it is lap 1. Should Daniel Ricciardo really be checking his right mirror going into that left-hander?
Should Russell look into his steering wheel when he's driving behind Alonso, and then he lose the car and then crash and then complains? Yeah, who knows?
Maybe, because he is drifting over and it is lap 1, but then I think Max said in the cool-down room about...
For George Russell, was it the last lap? Last time to get past Alonso, and you look at the steering wheel and then you don't see him slowing down more and then you crash.
Blind spot, and Formula 1 drivers, they are more aware, probably, definitely, of what happens on lap 1 than us average punters. But then also Max is good friends with Daniel, so there are plenty of things to take into consideration here. What would you say? Would you say it was Daniel Ricciardo's fault, deserves a penalty? Would you say it's Daniel Ricciardo's fault, but it's a racing incident? Would you say it's a level playing field 50-50 incident? Or is it Alex Albon's fault? Let me know in the comments.
The only fault Ricciardo did was picking the yellow tires. / medium tires. Zombie. Yeah, I would have saved you if you wasn't in this place.
Now, before we do any more, I would like to just please ask you to subscribe.
To actually give a funniest tweet. I mean, no.
Subscribe to this P1 YouTube channel. Yes, we are trying to hit 500,000, which is such a
and
beautiful
I will not help
number.
with that.
Ridiculous to hit it. But we'd love to do it. So if you are enjoying this P1 content, if you want more of this funniest tweets, podcasts, and everything else, driver interviews coming this year, then please do subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you as part of the P1 family. Oh, this was so good.
Oh shit.
Annie Ridder 153 Williams at the Chinese Grand Prix. Oh my goodness, what a video that is.
Yeah, really funny.
I don't even need to say anymore.
The
that is brilliant. That's probably runner-up for Tommy's tasty tweet, I reckon. But there's a better one coming, apparently.
Yeah, actually true. This is part for his fucking tasty tweets that he finds.
At crispy_crouton. How about Marco? Daniel needs to improve. Ricardo. He had such a good qualifying as well, didn't he, Daniel? But then had just such a bad start.
I mean, still, the funniest tweets. I don't know how funny it's... I mean, seeing Lewis Hamilton having a bad car and being in bad, that's funny. Seeing Ricciardo being bad, that's not funny.
And then you're just going, oh no, you're fighting the ones that were literally knocked out in Q1 into turn 1. He just had no grip, bad start, and really needs to pick it up. It's sad to see. Maybe China is the one, because there will actually be drivers on the grid.
And also, should this be funny? I mean, China. Watching this crash, is this funny?
It's been gone for so long, so that'll be interesting. And the final Williams meme, I've got rid of my head.
Maybe Lewis Hamilton likes seeing crashes like that. I mean, he celebrated really good 2021 Silverstone.
Set completely forgot I never wear my headset until I obviously listen to Tommy, so don't know why I was doing that. Taking it off now. At Shift Happens F1.
Oh shit. Alex Albon on his way to take Logan's car. You mean taking back his car from Logan?
PFA Williams garage right now. Alex Albon on his way to take Logan's car. Can you imagine? Obviously, back in Formula One history, we did actually have that. That was a thing where you could just chuck your teammate out and get in the car or have a spare car. Thankfully, for Logan's sake, that is not possible now. So, Logan managed to secure a great result. I lied. There's one more meme I've just found. At Tagman Bagbar. Logan started.
Okay, let's see. Williams, radio, red flag, Albon crash, box. Wait for the barrier repair, right? Yeah. I mean, this you could say is at least good. So, one funny with the Williams damaged car, and then we have this. So at least two have been somewhat
Williams after the red flag.
Good.
I'm going to move on now. Williams,
cat.
It's time to build more chassis so that it's not such a talking point. Please, just get them done.
I mean, if Mercedes would have maybe not been so slow with some stuff, maybe this wouldn't been a problem.
All right, let's move on from this meme now.
I mean, maybe funny. Maybe should have used Alonso's picture when he's getting the trophy.
I know. I found another one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the forced lap.
Sorry, Williams. I thought we were moving on, but there is one more. At Crystal Horner. Alex.
Yeah, truly
Albon looking
funny.
at Logan Sargent's car in the pit lane. It's for me. Oh God, no, that does make me laugh. So I had to include it. So yes, Williams, we are now moving on. I promise. Sorry, Stroll not
maybe first time not the.
Okay, we're now on to Lance Stroll, who had one of the strangest team radios since.
Oh yeah, that you can actually meme about or tweet about. I don't know what he wanted to say. It felt like he was slow, but he also talked like the others was slow. Man, that radio message was... His son panicked, or I don't know. That was so weird.
Saudi, I guess, where he's actually had two of the top team radios this year. This one, of course, being very sassy, high-pitched, very strange team radio, but we've got lots of memes for it.
Nothing made sense.
Verera. Stroll, why does he sound like some angsty 15-year-old? It was very much a case of my father will hear about this. It was, I am not happy, and it felt like it was out of some sort of drama Netflix show. And I'm not talking about Drive to Survive. One of those.
Maybe it will be in the Drive to Survive.
You got champagne. I don't know. You know the scene. It was very odd. There's another meme at Agent 7x200. Stroll screaming on the radio.
I mean, come on, at least have what he says, so you can actually read what the stuff he says.
It was quite literally screaming. Now, I'm sure Aston Martin and Lawrence Stroll will, push for a press release to say that we've just found an issue, and Lance was actually running 300 less brake horsepower than Fernando Alonso. But until I see that, which I will obviously count as fact, then
you will be
Lance
gone
had a
one
bit
day.
of a stinker, didn't he? At Josephine May. Now this is what it actually made me think of. Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate.
Oh shit! Oh my god! This should be the funniest Swiss, right? First you have Malfoy. Yeah, yeah, sure. Then you had... you didn't have the cat. That's... Sure.
At Josephine May. Now this is what it actually made me think of.
Well, let's see. What could you actually have done with Lance Stroll and that message? And that stuff he said. Who could you pick that would made it funny? Maybe angry Michael Schumacher. I don't know.
Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Lance to Lawrence after the race. It was honestly that girl. I forget her name, or is it Penelope? I can't remember. But either or, that scene, that was Lance in a nutshell. Just, I can just imagine.
Yeah, but still have removed that text and just have what he actually says.
You know how we had that jackpot gif earlier?
I mean, this you don't. If you not remember or know what he actually said, it make it less funny.
Of the F1 TV team radio people that select each one. You know how they love to play Lewis Hamilton? They've seen that one and gone, jackpot.
Or maybe when Mark Webber placed down his glass after he said how happy he was for the team. Not getting the wing and Sebastian Vettel get a new wing.
At Formula Latest,
or not a new wing, not damaged wing. Here we have. Finally. It's unbelievable how bad our speed is on the straight, man. Like it's different category. I mean, here we have actually a good meme. You have the text, so you can actually read what he said and how much he somewhat complaining. But first when I saw this, I thought he talking about the others people, their speed are so bad. Because how fast he could just pass them. But yeah. This is so much better sentence.
Different, of course. The beautiful, legendary GP2 engine call from Fernando Alonso way back when in the McLaren Honda era. And then Lance Stroll with a slightly more, I'd say, slightly more polished. Still angry, very angry, but didn't go as far as saying GP2 engine. Just hinted like it's a different category, which...
That's maybe he did it because Honda will soon be in the team, so maybe not give Honda some bad reason to maybe not wanna team up.
Going on
because of the memory.
Aston Martin literally brought upgrades. Why is Lance Stroll struggling so much? Don't say, oh, it's Fernando Alonso. But it probably is. At that Logan James, Fernando listening to Lance's radio about GP2.
Okay.
Oh dear. I mean, Fernando, we've had so many hilarious moments over the course of those two being teammates where he just gasses up Lance for absolutely no reason.
19
of course there's mutual respect between all teammates. But Fernando just sometimes just, yeah. I mean, Lance, great drive to P9 there. Saw it on the TV. One of the greatest drives I've ever seen in Formula 1.
True.
Completely unnecessary, but I absolutely love it.
You've never seen any better. Not even when he was fighting against Lewis Hamilton. Or Michael Schumacher.
As well. Honorable.
Händer att du tänker på framtiden?
Vad
du skulle vilja
time, remove.
Jag tänker på framtiden.
Lite läskigt att tänka så, eller?
All mentions. At the
oh my god, this is the honorable mention. Let's see if they actually have some funniest tweets.
Curian, after the last race,
And also, when he says funniest tweets, this is the funniest tweets they somewhat succeeded to find, or funniest tweets from what they actually get sent to them. Because funniest tweets is not close. What the Is this fun? Oh, okay.
Glad to see another driver win this week. Sainz dominate. Can you imagine? We all hoped and dreamed, didn't we? Even after free practice this weekend, Max saying, "Oh, I'm a bit concerned about the degradation." Ferrari looking quite good in race trim. That didn't come to fruition, did it? I did not think Max Verstappen had it in him to be a Lewis Hamilton from the previous Mercedes domination era, where he says, "Oh, you know, we're on the back foot. We are on the back foot," and then they obviously end up winning by 3 laps. Max, don't start doing that. I take your word as gospel, sir. I need...
Wait, don't you like hearing stuff like that? Man, wonder why Lewis Hamilton gets Satan.
I need you to be honest with me when you say you're struggling, because the hopium, the copium, whatever you want to call it, the delulu is through the roof anytime he might say that. So,
not
I'm
for me,
you, Max. At Colders_97 leaked Alpine.
Yeah, this was in a thumbnail, but I mean, I think this video, this is going fast, so maybe faster than Alpine.
In factory video. Alpine, I thought they'd taken a step forward. Just a small one, just a little teensy
Nope,
half
they
step.
didn't.
They had Ocon go through to Q2, and he celebrated it more than when he won in Hungary.
True.
Then the race, Gasly in particular, looked like the slowest. I mean, Lance Stroll can complain about his car. I don't even want to know. Well, actually, I do. I want to know exactly what Gasly said to his team after the race, because they were awful. How have they fallen this far? I need a full episode. You know how we had 2 episodes about Alpine in Drive to Survive last year? I will happily accept 2, 3, maybe even 4 this year, because the drama within that team must be at an all-time high. Turn to page 394. Oscar said gold.
Yeah, true. Piastri just chill all the time.
Oscar Piastri is one of just... What a sweet, sweet man he is. As this meme suggests, any other driver losing their mind. Lance Stroll literally just losing his mind over the car going slowly. Oscar gets dive bombed by George Russell. A small amount of contact, gets pushed across the last chicane. And he is talking to us like he's on a Sunday drive, top down, sun's out, nice little jazz, relaxing music being played. And that is how Oscar conducts himself. I love it. He's such a unique character, such an amazing lad. And even in the
somewhat good, but
most extreme
come on,
circumstances,
I want to have a really
you're in a
funny
Formula
tweet.
1 car, and he's still so chill. At Lexicon 2801, Piastri's team radios in the most heated of moments. Oh, that is the most beautiful way of basically explaining what I was saying in the last one.
Yeah, maybe.
At Chris Gaming NL, how it feels like watching the Magnussen onboard camera. The cameras were great. I actually really liked them. At first, I was a bit concerned. Maybe a little bit motion sickness going on here. Does it feel a bit weird to the eyes, or is it just a bit of a change? After seeing it in the race, loved it. I think it gives a sense of speed like no other. It's great, and I want more of it, please. And so much better than the helmet on boards when we're fighting in a battle. Just leave it to those. Helmet on boards can be for practice, maybe a little bit of qualifying. No side by side.
Oh yeah, the camera on the drink. That was something new.
Action, thank you. At Aeonrian Race Film Crew, 5 cars in the pit lane. Why not show it live?
Yeah, true.
No words. Apart from, I completely agree. How on earth have we missed?
And Sonoda... Oh shit, that could end bad. Or probably not. Maybe it could. Only 5 protection I have on me now. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen going in the pit first, and then he... I don't know, did he end up losing 2 positions, I think?
probably the greatest pit stop battle that is non-safety car in recent times. I know it was for 11th, but it was actually crucial for Yuki Tsunoda scoring a point. So it did have connotations, and we missed it and saw a replay. You just saw it on the leaderboard, like the timing tower. Pit exit, pit exit, pit exit, pit exit.
Whoop, pit exit, pit in. Did you see first? Probably. But yeah, I actually when before that happened. Oh wait. Yeah. Before that, I saw Magnusson holding up some people, and realized, oh, he's doing like in Saudi Arabia, but now Kevin Magnusson is behind them, so it's not working so good. And I mean, you don't want to drive behind him. And that was a little depressing when you saw when he went in to change tires, everyone else that was behind him or close behind him, they also pitted. So they could have ruined the race just by doing that.
You're like, what's going on over here? Missed it. Replay was fine, but would have seen it live. Would have liked to have seen it live even. Words are important, man. At Defo Not the Steak, live shots of the Sauber pits. How does this still keep happening? Bottas had a 4-second pit stop and it looked like it was light speed in comparison to every other pit stop we've seen in this team. And it's such a shame because Valtteri was genuinely in the hunt for scoring a point this weekend.
And then he didn't get past Kevin Magnusson and it ruined his race.
Quick, and you just couldn't rely on Steak to do a good pit stop. And
I mean, they did a good pit stop. The other pit stop was bad. So this was actually good. A good gambling pit stop.
It's really important considering the last point I just had around that 5-car battle in the pit lane. I think he came in first and came out of that last. At Kibet Clinton under...
No, he can't come out last because he was probably still... He must have been still behind Kevin Magnusson before that.
Score, Alonso trying Carlos Sainz Singapore Masterclass. See, that this is the Fernando Alonso tactics that there is no disputing. Beautiful. He looked at Carlos Sainz and thought, yes, I will employ this, and gave Piastri the DRS in the last few laps, which stopped Russell behind Piastri getting through. Point secured.
Oh shit. Yeah, we have the worst
now my favourite time
almost.
In any day, in any month, in any year.
Yeah, I hear how hyped you are about this fucking Tommy's tasty tweets. I would say Tommy's not tasty tweets.
Any century, it's Tommy's Tasty Tweets, sponsored by EA and F124. Tommy, who is winning the game that hasn't come out yet, but the joy of that and also your pride?
Indeed. It's Michelle, or MJ95 on Twitter, with this brilliant meme about Alpine. In 2024, I got 99 problems and I caused all of them, which is pretty savage.
Oh shit, this is it. Honestly, Alpine 2024, I got 99 problems and I caused all of them. Oh, there is their cap. Look like almost a Red Bull cap. But okay. I mean, at least it's part of one of the good ones.
Savage, but kind of true based on what we've seen.
That happens.
And boy, did they look like an F2
car
during the race.
Yep.
Oh, the meme's so good as well. It's so beautifully done with the little Alpine hat on it as well. So yeah, that is brilliant stuff. Thank you, Tommy. Well done, MJ. You have won a copy of F124 when it releases. And if you want to be involved next time, hashtag P1,
you will also die.
You might well be selected by the legend that is Tom Bellingham. Bye, Tommy.
Bye.
Right, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the funniest tweets to the Japanese Grand Prix. We've got a couple of weeks now until China. I hope you enjoyed the race as much as I did and opened your mind to Max Verstappen just being out in front. And yeah, that's great. Max, you have a great time. The midfield delivered, and when it does, I do enjoy Formula One. Hopefully you did as well. P1 Live show is literally next week, so if you haven't got your tickets
we can leave
and
this
you'd like
place
to come
now.
along, Cambridge is sold out, but Bath and London still have a few tickets left.
Enough.
Then please do come along and see me and Tommy. We'd love to have
No,
you there.
I don't
and,
want to.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Lots of love. See you soon.
Waste of
Bye.
money, waste of time. Like this funniest tweets. Is it really hard to have at least funniest tweets? Every tweet is funny or somewhat good. Let's go away from this because it's time for actually some fun stuff. And fun stuff, I mean it's fun for me to listen to one of the greatest people that can talk about Formula 1, and it is Peter Windsor, 2024 F1 Japanese GP race analyzed by Peter Windsor. And this will just, this could be really funny. How we will maybe talk about how depressing it is to see one of the greatest people having such a bad car. And for me it's just beautiful to see that. So you can say his pain for Lewis Hamilton is my joy. So let's see.
Well, that was pretty much a case study on how to win a Grand Prix. 1-2 finish for Red Bull Honda on home ground as far as Honda's concerned. 2 brilliant starts by Max Verstappen. Had to make 2 because of a first corner shunt or exit of turn 1B shunt between Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon. Looked like a sort of first corner.
Magnusson. No, Hulkenberg. I don't know how the first start was, but I think the second one start was really bad for him.
First lap shunt, I'm sure the stewards will go that way. It's certainly interesting to see how quickly the tyres puncture these days. Just sidewall to sidewall and bang, the tyres go. Daniel Ricciardo and Albon both ending up in the wall, red flag, and then a restart. Not a comfortable moment for any racing driver, let alone the guy on the pole who's made the perfect start. Having to do it all again, but Max did that. I suppose if you're on the pole at Suzuka, it's always nice having that sort of downhill run feel to it, isn't it? Even if you make a slightly dodgy start, you're still going to get half reasonably into turn 1A, and that's what happened. Max actually made very good starts on both occasions and seized the lead into 1A, 1B ahead of Sergio Perez on both starts. So just fabulous work by Red Bull. Max led basically
just
from
drove
start to
away.
finish, starting on medium tyres, stopping again for mediums, and then hards right at the end. That was the right strategy, obviously, in terms of being in an RB20 Red Bull and being at the front of the race. But behind there are lots of different strategies, as we predicted yesterday.
Yeah, Leclerc doing some special stuff that made so you can lead some laps. Then who did more lead laps? Lando Norris, maybe?
But let's not detract from, in any way, Max's win. He also set fastest lap towards the end, just gave him a little bit of overtake when he needed it. And he cruised round to win by 10 seconds from Sergio Perez, who on both pit stop occasions lost ground to Lando Norris and then to more than Lando Norris, but very quickly regained those positions, looking decisive and fast and quick and confident in the second RB20, and finished second, as I say. Very good drive by Sergio Perez as well, on a circuit that is always, well, it's demanding at the least, isn't it? And Sergio looking extremely good there. And putting aside probably talk for the moment about whether he should be replaced at Red Bull. As I keep saying, I think he's doing a really good job as Max's other driver. And yeah, if he'd won today, possibly the dynamic would be different and be going into China saying, I got a chance for the championship again, as he did last year. But as long as he just stays quiet, he's in very good shape.
I mean, he will still be the one that are closer to be a championship container. What would you say? The one that will they can fight for something. He will probably not be fighting, but he will probably be the closest one.
I think for keeping that drive. And
But I rather want Norris and Leclerc be up there.
2025. Carlos Sainz finished a fabulous third for Ferrari. Excellent drive by Carlos. Great qualifying, and he parlayed that into that podium finish. Really good tyre management, just underlining again how well Ferrari have done over the winter to give both their drivers a car that is much more manageable, much more drivable, more chuckable if you like. They can predict what it's going to do, and they can tailor their driving to the degradation that's going on around them. And not only in the context of the longevity of their stints, and Carlos did a really long stint on a used set of mediums, but also McLaren finding the medium tyre quite difficult and getting off it quite quickly. Shouldn't really relate anything to Red Bull here because they're in a world of their own. But if you compare Ferrari with McLaren, Ferrari did a really good job on that medium and then flew on the hard tyre right at the end with Carlos Sainz as well, a new set of hards. So Ferrari quick on both the medium and the hard. McLaren not so good on the medium, and anyway, Ferrari beating McLaren. We saw that obviously with Carlos finishing third and just breezing past drivers like Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc in the closing laps on that new set of hards. But also with...
even if that's true, but McLaren still better. Fuck me. Well, the last trees are gone now. That I didn't think of. God damn it. No! It's ruined my... Fuck me. This is depressing. At least it's not the... Come on. The fuck is this? Okay. The fight is over. I mean, this will be more depressing if a lightning strike wouldn't have already ruined some of the trees already before. And also more depressing if this trees was here before. But man. Oh my god, when did PewDiePie start playing Minecraft? Because it's almost at that time I placed down these trees. The history of the trees. Well, at least I can place down some blossom trees when I get some. Man. Well, that was something that happened.
Charles Leclerc, who did an outstanding job as well for Ferrari today and brought his car home in fourth place after a very, for him, disappointing qualifying session. They still don't know at Ferrari what the problem was. The balance went away just when Charles needed it in Q3, and he never got that lap in. He was
hopefully they fixed that soon.
The team were as well, and all they could do was just look forward to the race and come up with something different. And it just shows, I think, the state of mind of Charles now and the confidence he has in the people behind him too, and telling him that he can do it, and getting the best from him, if that's the right phrase. That on lap 16 it was Charles who proactively said to Ferrari, I'm going to try and run this stint as long as I can, try and do a one-stopper, and that's exactly what he did. Brilliant job he did on that medium tyre, and you said a medium.
Yes,
25
true.
laps, Red Bull did 18, Carlos did 21, Charles went to 25 on that medium tyre. And I say, all that's doing is showing how good that Ferrari is now. The interesting point is that when Charles came out of his pit stop on the new set of hard tyres now with 27 laps to go, and obviously he was going to run these tyres to the end of the race.
Some chickens die
Lando
because
Norris
of the lava?
had exactly the same set of new tyres with exactly the same length of the race to go, and he's only 1.3 seconds behind Charles. So here was a head-on, eyeball-to-eyeball race between Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris in the McLaren Mercedes. Fascinating to see how they compared. Very similar in top speed. And as it turned out, Charles just pulled away a 10th here, a 10th there, and beat Lando Norris into fourth place. So that also was an impressive result, not only for Charles, but for the Ferrari versus McLaren Mercedes battle. I suppose McLaren would say, well, we always feel...
Yeah, the Mercedes battle. They are fighting Aston Martin. Don't take them in the good teams.
Feel that Ferrari's got a bit of an edge
like
on it now.
Ferrari and
don't forget McLaren qualified P3 with Lando Norris, so very close between the two if you take qualifying and the race into account. But in terms of the race and really
all this because I wanted to pick up a fish
also. Dominant car. Dominant, is that the right word? The superior car to the McLaren Mercedes. We saw that very clearly at Suzuka today, and a very good drive by Lando Norris, not detracting from him in any way. Really good use of the undercut, getting onto the hard tyre pretty quickly and having to come in for a second set of hards. Did a really good job. Got the maximum from the car, I'm sure there's no doubt about that. But P5 for Lando Norris, having started P3, will be a little bit disappointing for him, for sure. Oscar Piastri in the other car, very good job. Fell away with the traffic and stuff as you usually do. And towards the end of the race, both he and Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin were on the same hard compound tyres as well, with George Russell catching them very quickly. We'll get onto Mercedes in a bit as well, but George is now on...
yeah. Mercedes will be funny to hear him talk about.
Younger set of medium tyres, so he's not only got an advantage in terms of the tyre life, but also in terms of the compound, he's on the medium tyre. And George just beat Oscar Piastri, made heavy weather of it, tried to go inside him at the chicane, sort of Senna-Prost style really, when yes there was a gap, Oscar left a gap, there's no doubt about that, but George went inside him at the chicane, almost for sure Oscar was going to just use all the road and there wasn't going to be room for these two ginormous Formula 1 cars going through the chicane. A really odd decision I think by George. It was a reflex thing probably, but there was a DRS immediately after that. So why did he do that? He could have got a run on Oscar there. He could have got DRS down there, and he might then have had a chance of beating Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. As it was, of course, with Oscar going off into the runoff area and rejoining, and George having to give the position back, he lost ground. He lost time. Yes, he repassed Oscar. He did eventually get Oscar with DRS, as he should have 2 laps later. But by then, Fernando was gone, and he couldn't beat Fernando.
Yeah, it didn't look maybe down on his tire. Wheel. What the fuck do you say? His steering wheel.
So a little bit of a messy end of the race for George Russell there. But we'll talk about Mercedes now, because they finished more or less where they started, which was a desultory 8th and 9th. Very unimpressive day for Mercedes. Yeah, they did something imaginative. After the first lap shunt between Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon, the race was red flagged, and they alone decided to restart the race with different tyres. They'd started on mediums like everybody else. Alonso on softs, I've got to say. Yeah, an aggressive choice by Fernando and Aston Martin. Didn't really pay off for him in any way. Didn't seem that quick on the soft. They went off very quickly, and he ended up basically running the same strategy as McLaren once he got rid of them. So it didn't really change much for Fernando. But anyway, that's another story. The two Mercedes went to hard tyres, and the idea obviously was to run a really long stint and try to gain track position when the others came into the pits. And it didn't really work out either. They weren't really good. I mean, Lewis was leading George by dint of his better qualifying result, but quite early in the race, shortly after George had said, "I've got terrible tyre vibration, I can feel it through the steering, there's something weird going on." About a lap later, Lewis is there saying, "Oh, shall I let George pass?" And he did. I just can't believe he just slowed and let George pass going into the chicane. And that was because Lewis had picked up a bit of damage at the restart and got a lot of understeer. But it turns out so did George have a lot of understeer at that point. And you've got to wonder how much damage effect there was anyway, because when Lewis eventually got onto a set of hards at the end of the race, lighter fuel, and everybody was quite quick on that hard tyre, he was quite good. He was quite quick, and he was able to catch George when he was fighting with Oscar Piastri reasonably efficiently. But it was a very odd thing for Lewis, out of character thing for Lewis to do at that stage of the race, given how reluctant he's always been in the past to give in to team orders and to let George pass, and especially with Nico as well, obviously. So it was just a very, very acquiescent Lewis Hamilton we saw in the early stages of the race, which was a bit uncomfortable to see. Various stages of the race, Lewis was complaining about how he'd lost so much time, which suggested he still had the fire burning inside. ran the same strategy as George as well, just trying to go a little bit longer as he could, but on his in-laps the tyres had completely gone and he lost more time doing that. Just really messy day for Mercedes, as if they didn't really have any answers to anything, and that's, I think that was the case. If they did have answers, they'd be doing a better job. They got beaten obviously very clearly, not only by McLaren but also by Fernando's Aston Martin. Both customer teams from Mercedes, we have to keep reminding everyone. And it's just sad times. And I've never seen Lewis in that situation where he's just sort of said, shall I let George pass? And just lamely lets him pass. Maybe it was just the pressure from George, and he just thought, oh, George is for some reason going quicker than I am. Very unlike Lewis to be thinking that far ahead in the race. I mean, he's above all, he's a racer. He's a racer of a racing driver.
Yeah,
so
in a bad car.
I was very confused by that, but yeah, just that underline really how sad that day was for Mercedes. They could have finished. They could have beaten Fernando. They should have beaten Fernando. The Aston Martin was much slower in a straight line, to the point where Lance Stroll was moaning. He was back end of the race. He was on soft tyres, having driven a pretty good race actually, and stayed reasonably out of trouble. And he was on soft tyres going quite quickly. And got on the radio and said, "I can't believe how slow we are in the straight. It's absolutely terrible. It's like we're in a different category of racing." But weren't they looking at the speed trap times from yesterday? It was pretty clear how slow Aston Martin were, and we saw other teams taking wing out of the car to give themselves a bit more speed on the straight after FP3, but Aston Martin clearly didn't do that, and it's no good complaining about the top speed in the race when they knew how slow they were going into the race. I just couldn't understand what that was all about, unless of course they hadn't been studying, or Lance particularly hadn't been studying the speed trap at times, I don't know, but it was very clear yesterday how slow they were, and they're much slower through the air. And that brings another point, and I have been making this point in videos on Friday and Saturday, that I wonder whether Mercedes ran too little wing in Suzuka. They were surprisingly quick in a straight line, and they didn't need that, didn't really help them. They had DRS anyway, which George eventually used, and they could have done with more downforce quite clearly, because they just couldn't really do anything with the car. The two drivers, as good as they are, couldn't do anything with that car. So probably they could have run down more downforce, but that was kind of staring them in the face. Well, the top speed, how good they were relative to their nearest opposition, was staring them in the face on the Friday, but that was coloured by how well the drivers spoke about the car and said the car felt really good, well balanced, this and that. Of course, the circuit was picking up grip, and at that point, Max Verstappen wasn't saying, oh, the car feels terrible. He was working away at various things on the Red Bull, and Mercedes was saying, oh, the car's never felt better than it has this year. It's really good, you know, credit to the team and all that stuff. But the track changed. The weather got hotter, and everything changed. And Mercedes didn't seem to change with those variables, and they kept the same wing. It seems they're still quite quick in a straight. They could have done with more downforce. I'm surprised they didn't do that. And that will be, for sure, something they'll be looking at. Not sure they'll be talking about it publicly, but it's probably something they'll be looking at in the debrief. I would hope so, anyway. So in the end, Mercedes finished 7th and 9th rather than 8th and 9th, because George did get Oscar Piastri at the end. Oscar's tyres had completely gone off by then. But they could have been 6th and 9th. They could have been 6th and 7th, really, but they weren't. And Yuki Tsunoda was 10th. There was a lot of tyre changing almost at the same time. All the back of the grid teams trying to sort of predict what their opposition was going to do, when they were going to come in. But in the end, it was Yuki Tsunoda who definitely finished a deserved 10th. Drove very well all weekend. But I also thought it was a strange day, a bizarre day. The type I've never really seen before at Suzuka. And that is that there were a lot of overtakes, which is fine. It's a function of the track. It's a good track for overtaking. But beyond that, the way that Pirelli tyres at the moment just sort of fall off the cliff, and everybody loves that because it creates the number of overtakes you can have, and the stats look terrific. But what it promotes is actually a lack of defence from the drivers. It's as if the drivers, once they know that the guy behind is on tyres that are 5 laps fresher, they don't do anything really, apart from Kevin Magnussen, I suppose. But if you take, for example, Lando Norris, so around lap 18 was on a fresh set of hard tyres. He'd already gone from medium to another set of mediums, didn't like them, and got quite quickly onto the hards. Was having to go through the traffic and fight with the Mercedes, would you believe, right down in the midfield. The two Mercedes were still on old hard tyres, so yes, you could argue there wasn't much contest there, but he blew past Lewis Hamilton on the outside going into turn 1. Yeah, okay, DRS coming out of the chicane on that straight, but nonetheless, to pass Lewis Hamilton on the outside just after the Mercedes pits was fairly meaningful, I think. And then a few laps later, did the same to George on the inside going into 1A. And there wasn't even the thought of closing the door there from George. It was just like, oh, well, yeah, see you in the mirrors, he's gone. But then Lando did the same thing with Sergio Perez. When Perez was on fresh tyres, catching Lando very quickly after his second pit stop, they went into the chicane, and basically Lando just moved over for him. And that's kind of odd. I can't remember the last time I've seen that in race.
I mean, maybe not so many times, but surely it happens.
Talking about that point, that was for, well, effectively second place, and you'd think that they'd be using a bit more road. I wouldn't use the word blocking maybe, but why not defend the inside line, or at least make it a bit difficult? The guy that was out there on the edge, I thought, was Yuki Tsunoda. Two great passes at the top of the S's on the outside there, where, you know, you can't blame that on, you can't credit that to DRS or anything like that. That was just Yuki right out there. Yeah, his tyres were fresh at that point and he had the grip advantage, but you still got to be, you know, you still got to be trying hard to do something on the outside at the top of the hill. And that was full marks to Yuki Tsunoda for that. It was the best bit of passing I saw all day. But I suppose, you know, Lando's pass on the outside of Lewis will be the one that'll get replayed quite a lot, and that'll be the one that'll hurt Mercedes a lot, because...
Why? What would you say that for? Not a Mercedes Scopium.
That's one of the three Mercedes customer teams, and it's blowing past the 7 times world champion in his Mercedes on the outside going into 1A. I mean, that will hurt, definitely. So that was the Japanese Grand Prix. I wish I could say a little bit more about Max Verstappen's drive, other than I've been talking about his driving quite a lot over the last 2 videos, Friday, Saturday, how good he is in Sector 1, which is primarily up through the S's, and how well he positions the car, and the way he makes the car appear as if it's almost floating around the lap of Suzuka. I used the word yesterday. He's gentle with the car, and that was the hallmark of his drive today. Even when he was putting in fastest lap, it was difficult to tell that he was on the absolute limit. Just looked fabulous. So we shouldn't, you know, it's easy to come away with a lot of the other stuff that's going on, I suppose, with the minor placings. Full credit to Ferrari, full credit to both drivers. Great job.
Full credit for great Mercedes
car. Is there a better superlative than that? I don't know. Possibly there is, but for Red Bull, just superb today. Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, congratulations to everybody, and of course to Adrian Newey and his design team of Milton Keynes. That was Japan. Now going back to China. Should be interesting. Like that Chinese circuit, Hermann Tilke circuit. Very interesting turn 1 and great corner. I think it's turn 6, 7, something like that, maybe 8. It's a very, very fast left-hander in the first phase of the lap. Long back straight. So lots of room for compromise and downforce and wing settings. Equally a very good circuit in terms of layout, and demanding quite a lot from the drivers. So looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, looking forward to doing some more live streams and interacting with you, the viewer. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Pitbox.io, and thanks to Jetcraft for their support of this channel. See you soon.
Oh, let's see. 115 GP for 915 McLaren, 500 GP Sauber including Alfa Romeo. 9th top 3 grid position for Max Verstappen, 20 top 3 grid position for Sergio Perez, 25th start for Lewis Hamilton, and 30 win for Honda engine, 40 top 6. Okay. Jim Clark, Hockenheim, April 7, 1968. Man. The outro is still somewhat bad. This continue really long. Oh, go away, ad. No need to watch an ad when we have finished the video. Okay, let's see. That was... Yeah. We end this here. We do one last trip around to look if there's any new fish for the collection. And I would say the race was, I mean, you can say somewhat interesting. But, and seeing Mercedes being bad, that's also somewhat fun. See, no more new fishes for me. Hopefully I will get them on a trade that will sell some blossom trees, so I can start making this to a nice place, because this is just depressing. So where should I end it? Oh shit. Yeah, and next race will be 21st April, so that's 7. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. And hopefully Leclerc will get some better, I mean, at least pole position, but at least good qualifying. Oh, that's something I could the driver's reaction. That I have not seen. Okay, so I will continue some more time.
of course, we had a little hiccup in Melbourne, but then, of course, it's very nice to come back here and just basically have a perfect weekend. The car was a bit of a question mark going into the race, but I think we made the right calls before we went into qualifying. Because
like always.
It definitely helped the car also today, and that's why I think I could just push a little bit more, feel a little bit more.
I mean, when he says they changed for the qualifying, I mean, like, how much change is it really? Oh, fuck me. I mean, is it just you went from, I don't know what you can say. It's like, instead of placing a block here, you place a block here. It's just a small difference, or is it's a big change, like that? Remove all these blocks just so you can place every block one step of any direction. Because when he's talk, sounds like he also that face. But yeah, it sounds like when he change stuff, sounds like big changes. But it can just be super small. It's like going from 0.01 second to 0.02 seconds faster.
Comfortable with the balance of the car, and basically on every compound, every fuel load, you know, from the start to the end of the race, I just felt good in the car.
Yeah, it was quite difficult. The first stint, especially, I think we were out of balance a bit. We couldn't have the life.
First stint, only first stint was almost the only time you were close to Max Verstappen.
Wanted, and that compromised our race with Lando pitting so early. We were then out of sync, and meant that our second stint on the medium we had to push and come through the traffic, and it was just getting harder and harder for us. So unfortunately, yeah, we just didn't got the life out of those mediums. Initially, the hard I think was good.
If you did, maybe you could lead the championship. The back. Yeah, there we have it. Yellow and purple. God damn it, no new fish for the collection.
But it was just a little bit out of sync.
Yes, it was a very strong race. It wasn't easy, very strategic, a lot of things going on with tire degradation. 1 stops, 2 stops, whether to use the new or the used medium at the restart. Anyway, I think we nailed a very good race with some good overtakes at the end. Yeah, at one point in the race I thought it was not going to happen, the podium, but then in the last...
Yeah, I was also hoping for that. Eller hoping. Man, Leclerc getting some podiums would be fun, but no.
When I put the new hard,
one more for
the tire gave me a really good feeling, and I could push on it and get back to it.
Well, I mean, if I only look at today, I'm quite happy because I think there was nothing we could have done better. We've done a great race today. I think.
Yeah, you need to fix your qualifying, so you can just have a nice race, a fun race, and get podiums instead of having just boring races.
We didn't have a better results, mostly because of the qualifying yesterday, and this is where I want to focus, which is strange. In the past I never had to really focus on qualifying because that was one of our strengths, but since 2 races it's not really the performance in itself, it's just putting the tires in the right window, and I've been struggling a bit more than normally, which is normally my strength, and I'm paying the price today in the race by starting further away. But apart from that, the pace has been really, really good, time management has been really, really good, communication and strategy has been really, really good. So it's also good to be voted driver of the day. Sometimes you do great races, but you are a bit on your own and nobody notices it. today I'm happy that people noticed it, and we'll focus on the next race to try and put everything together and to finally have the result that we want.
We never had the pace today, so it's tough.
What the fuck did you say? Yeah, see that. New fish for the collection. Hi. Yeah, my progress to getting all different fishes is going equally fast as progress for Mercedes making a better car. It's like you can't see it. Is it light blue? Is it light blue, green? Where are you? There we have it. Yeah, like blue, green. Yeah, we have more like blue, green. Yeah, back to Norris.
Just trying to cover a lot of things and trying to stay ahead, but on a track like this, it's the opposite thing of what you want to do. So I think, let's say, a good day. Feels doesn't look nice, starting third, finishing fifth. So you shouldn't be happy with it, but I think we didn't have any more pace today.
New fish for the collection,
Ferraris were another level to us.
Probably
yeah, I think we were a little bit better than the last few events, but still, we still miss some pace compared to McLaren and Mercedes. Yeah, Red Bull and Ferrari, they are in another league. So yeah, we still, I think, fifth fastest team, which yeah, normally we should be P9 and P10.
Yeah, we know it's very tight out there at the moment. Everyone behind the Red Bulls.
Yeah, it's so tight, and you're fighting for what position?
We didn't have a great day yesterday, and ultimately paid the price today. And you've seen it. I think 2 of the 4 races now. You know, 1-2 temps between 6 cars on the grid. And if you qualify at the front of that pack, you'll probably be finishing at the front of that pack. So it's quite cool that the fight is like that. It's a shame it's not for the win. But equally, we know this these last 3 circuits haven't really suited the strengths of our car. So
really? You don't say that.
Yeah, busy race. Obviously, you know, not fighting for the positions that we wanted to be in, but yeah, just struggled, I think.
Yellow, brown.
On my side, it's not been the best of weekends. I think also as a team, we struggled a bit more today than we expected to as well. So yeah, a lot of reflection and things to try and get on top of next time. But yeah, that was not the afternoon we were looking for. I mean,
man, Oscar Piastri could have finished before George Russell. And now, the amazing time. Lewis Hamilton.
The car is never what I would hoped it would be. It's never what we would hoped it would be.
Tell me that you're sad without telling me that you're sad, Lewis Hamilton. Can you do that?
I got some damage, I think, in the first stint at the restart with Charles, and I had massive understeer, like huge understeer. So that's why I decided to let George by, because he seemed quicker, and I just couldn't turn the car. And it took us 2 stints to finally dial more and more wing in to make up for that loss.
Yeah, relieved. You know, I would say after I lost a couple of positions in the first start, I felt a little bit of disappointment for sure, but at the same time, had a good start after that. And I think one of the big highlights was the pit stop. Our team did a fantastic job, mechanics. That's very fast pit stop, and it overtook 2 cars. You know, that's insane.
50 seconds behind Hamilton, so I think, yeah, I didn't have that kind of pace. Yeah, one good start, one really bad start. Went into anti-stall, so we need to look into what happened, why I did that. But like you say, afterwards, you know, head down. I think the pace was pretty good for midfield.
Yeah, really tough. We lacked a lot of straight line speed, so I had to do my overtaking in turn 6. I couldn't do it down the main straight in DRS. So yeah, it was a tough race, tough weekend, but yeah.
Well, yeah, at some point I was running in the top 10, and I didn't really know, I didn't have the overview of what the others were doing, so I didn't know if it was
realistic or not, but you know I was trying, and I think with the tires we had, you know the red flag effectively helped, you know, a few people that then were able to do a one-stop hard, and I had to do a one-stop medium hard, which was pretty tough. So had to pit quite early for the second stint on the hard, and it was a bit tricky.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, was a positive day in terms of the pace overall.
Yeah, it felt like Bottas could have got some points, but no. We ended up not getting any points.
Spara upp till 40% på förnyade produkter och få alltid minst 12 månaders garanti på refurb.se.
Damn it.
Stopped quite early on the second stop, and actually same time with all the others, and unfortunately ended up behind all the cars that we were racing. So then it was, yeah, basically for the rest of the race I was stuck behind Kevin, who had a really high top speed, so I couldn't really find a way around him.
Yeah, it was very tricky.
Time for Alpine high.
Some damage at the start, which obviously didn't help, but then we tried something on strategies, try and be ahead of the other cars every time, but we are not able to keep them behind. So it was a good test for us this weekend, see where we were exactly. I think we probably progressed in terms of qualifying. I think we did a good one.
Well, starting with the positives, we had a great start on the first one, managed to move up 3 positions. Second start was amazing again, managed to get past Esteban and go in between Yuki and Esteban, and unfortunately ended up in the middle, Yuki turning left, Esteban right, and we had contact on the left with Esteban, and it took me all the left part of the floor.
Yeah, I think it was a good start, a good first stint. Was trying to do a bit of a bold strategy, and I think we could have done it. It could have worked out. We just got really unlucky at that first pit stop. Ended up getting jumped by 4 rather than jumping 4, and that obviously can make or break a race.
Honestly, it's very frustrating at the moment with several issues over the weekend, but unfortunately, yeah, there's one of the day that we have another issue on the gearbox, so like the back of...
At least there's one more year until Audi will come in.
The car was, the oil was burning, and yeah,
so they can try to fix everything for next year,
so, yeah.
And then everything will be good.
But a different one, but we need to clear out for next race, because it's been a pretty, let's say, disappointing start of the year.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah, they definitely kind of concentrated behind us. Everyone who started on the soft, well, at least the cars in front on the medium looked a fair okay, but yeah, myself and Yuki had a pretty poor getaway on the medium, and all the cars behind on the soft just, yeah, got us quite easily, and we were just kind of scrabbling, obviously, for some grip. And by turn 2, it settled a little bit, but then I remember getting out of 2 quite still with a little bit of lack of traction, and I remember an Aston on my left, so I was kind of watching that car, and then as I was starting to drift to open up 3, I felt Alex. So I think, yeah, just I saw his onboard, and he just had so much better drive out of 2. I don't even know if he wanted to be there, but yeah, you could see me kind of going a little bit sideways, and yeah, just I think as you probably said, just everyone kind of got choked up, and that was that. So yeah, unfortunately a short Sunday.
Had not a great start, but obviously a bit better than the medium tyres, and had good traction coming up turn 2. Yeah, that was it really. Just I don't think Daniel saw me, and then it was just a bit of a pinching moment, so tried to back out a bit, but couldn't quite get out the way quick enough. So
yeah,
it was a tough one to take. Obviously we're not in a great position as a team with parts and just general damage for the car, so
yeah, this
is very frustrating.
Not fun start for Williams.
Just disappointing. We need to bounce back and get ready for China.
Yeah, hopefully. That was that. And China.
It is time to go race.
Quite. 2 weeks, then it's China, but we will see then if Williams